My name is Anna Tómasdóttir. I come from Iceland. I'm here at Project Hope volunteering to teach English or conversation classes and first aid. I arrived to Nablus 11 weeks ago, or a little over 11 weeks, and I'm leaving next Sunday. So I've been teaching English and some first aid since I came. For me, because English is my second language, I just have classes for conversation with university students. And the first aid classes, we've been teaching first aid in the villages around Nablus, Beit Dajan, Talusa, Al-Fara, and other villages. And it's mostly older women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And we just teach them basic first aid skills.
Before you came, did they know anything about first aid?
Some of them have had some first aid classes from Project Hope before. So this program was designed to come, for 4 weeks, once a week, and teach different techniques and different approaches. When you study first aid or learn first aid, it's something you remember for the first few days after the class, then you forget. So we decided to compose a first aid manual, and it was translated to Arabic, and it's something we want to leave in the villages with the women so they can, keep their first aid skills fresh.
Okay.
For me, the most significant problem is the borders and the checkpoints, and there's where I've had some problems with, entering Israel or exiting Israel. Mostly entering Israel.
Can you just tell me what happened?
At the Allenby Bridge, I had spent 2 months in Nablus, and I went to Jordan with some friends to see Petra. And when we came back, I witnessed some, humiliation on, a part of the Palestinians at the border, and I really got frustrated, and I got the feeling that I don't want to hide the fact that I'm in Nablus volunteering, because I'm not doing anything wrong, so I shouldn't lie or shouldn't tell the, untrue. So I just told them I was volunteering in Nablus and I was teaching English when they asked me what I was doing, and they held me for 10 hours, and they didn't want to give me entry into the country and told me to go back to Jordan. So I spoke to the officer in charge, and I told him I had to come back to get my stuff, my computer and everything I have in Nablus. And he agreed to give me 1 week's visa, although my flight didn't leave until 3 or 4 weeks after this experience. So I had to go to Tel Aviv and get an extension and pay, 150 shekels and the transportation back and forth. So it's really a hassle. It's just harassment and nothing else. So they know I'm not a threat. They know there's nothing, about me that threatens Israel. Yeah, they told me that it's not allowed for internationals to be inside the West Bank. That's
what they told me, it's not allowed for internationals to be inside the West Bank.
And when you try to get some answers, because I asked them, what is it about me that, is a security threat? Why can't I go to Nablus? And nobody could give me any appropriate answers until, I spoke to the officer, and, his answers were really, inaccurate. But he told me that they don't want internationals in West Bank because they consider the West Bank a military zone, and we need the military's permission to enter the West Bank. And actually, when I went through, I'm not sure the border crossing, what's the name of it, it's north of Jenin, when you go from the West Bank to Israel de facto, it's not a checkpoint, it's a border. And first of all, it was like an obstacle course. It took us, 45 minutes just going through the obstacles, leaving our bags in, certain rooms. And we didn't see any faces for the first 45 minutes. It was only, take your bag, some voice telling us what to do. And when we got to the end of this obstacle course, this woman checked our passports, and she asked us, what they're doing in the West Bank, because she obviously knows that we're coming from there. So we just told her the truth, me, Abe, and Kim, about what we're doing, volunteering, teaching English, and they made us sit down and wait for probably around 45 minutes, and then they interrogated us, each separately, and we all told the same story, just the truth. And she told us, directly that internationals are not allowed in the West Bank without the permission of the military. And we told her that, it's the first time we've heard that law or rule, or we tried to ask her where her, auditor is coming from, who is telling her this. And she just told the officer, and she was wearing a white uniform. She was not the military. She was a contractor or employee of a contractor. And I came to Palestine 3 years ago, and then I was completely green. I had no idea. It was more because I have a relative in Iceland from Palestine, and she told me, don't you want to go? And I went. And for me, only spending a month, I just, heard stories from maybe one side, and from one man in particular who was, the volunteer coordinator and the tour guide. So when I came back home, I started working with an association, Iceland Palestine, back at home, and we do some fundraising and, awareness things about the situation here. And I wanted to come back and spend some, quality time, 3 months period, and get to know the people, everybody in Nablus, people my age, women, men, and, really get a picture of what they're experiencing. For me, because the main problem before I came here, for me, was the wall. For me, it was, the biggest violation of the Palestinians. But, after being here, I think the, most important problem here are the settlements. That's where it all begins. Inside the West Bank, whether the wall is there or not, the settlements are the thing that restricts the, movement of Palestinians the most. And they get bigger and bigger every year, and there's nothing done to, stop the development of settlements. You want to go home and make a difference. You want to, make an impact and give back. But I felt last time I was here, it took me maybe 3 weeks to, forget. And that's, human nature when you get into your own lifestyle, and you need to keep your, experience fresh by, maybe keeping a journal, doing something. But I really want to, work with Project Hope back in Iceland, do some fundraising, and, and there's so many people here I got to know that I want to keep in contact with, and maybe by that I could, still feel what's going on here. Yeah. But I want to, add just one thing about the, experience at the border crossing, because he told me that, it was illegal for us to be in the West Bank.
So you're talking about the woman with the white...
Yeah. Okay. And because she tells us we need the army's permission to do this, and we can enter, the West Bank from Jerusalem like it's nobody's business. We don't have to show a passport, there's nothing, no control there. Everybody can enter the West Bank. So for me, there's no consistency in anything that the Israeli army does. And that's the most surprise for me, because I thought really that there was a master plan there, but it seems all chaotic, and there's no big policy that they're going by. So
you mean she told you need the army permission to enter the West Bank, but the fact is, the reality is you can enter the West Bank at will without anything.
And I could have exited the West Bank from Jerusalem, but that means I would have had to go a longer way, driving all the way south and back north. We were going to Akko. But the shortest way is always the most difficult in Palestine. So that's the purpose for me. It's just harassment and humiliation, that's all.